What is up, you sinners and saints, my fellow godless peoples? Welcome back to The Rage. I am your boy Knock, and today we're going to look at something that happened last Sunday. Now, if you guys aren't watching Apostate Alliance, you really should be. But we had like this perfect blend with Chris Shelton coming on to talk about Scientology and co-host Fay The Most Gracious never really having experienced Scientology at all. And honestly, I think that her reaction to Scientology, being exposed to Scientology, was beautiful. It was unique. It was brilliant. So I'm going to put it all together into this little short clip for you guys and let you enjoy it as I did as I watched it live. And again, if you're not watching the Apostate Alliance every Sunday morning at 11 a.m., you really are missing out.
But we want to get into the Scientology here. Me and Fay know little about it, so we're going to prompt Chris with some questions and then let him, talk as much as he wants about this, because I'm very fascinated by what I do know about Scientology. The first question I'd ask you, Chris, is this something that you were a Scientologist because your family was in Scientology? And so you grew up in Scientology as a child?
Yes, correct. I was a second generation Scientologist, which is a phenomena that is starting to be only in basically the last few years have sociologists and psychologists started recognizing that second generation cult members or second generation members of high control authoritarian groups are actually a thing. And the treatment model and the way you go about dealing with people who were raised in these groups is different from the way you would treat or deal with somebody who has gotten involuntarily on their own accord, right? Because it's a whole different mindset. And so, yes, I was raised in Scientology.
And, as you talk about the difference between, having come to the religion or being born into it. And, that's why I've heard a lot of people say that those kind of decisions, maybe we should wait till children are, grown up and able to make their own decisions. But, you get indoctrinated into it as a child. Mm-hmm. That's all you know. And so you grew up in Scientology. Just go ahead and just take a few moments and just give us a thumbnail of what Scientology is all about,
Sure.
As far as their the underpinnings of the religion.
Yeah.
Go
ahead. I also want to ask, paint us a picture of who Chris Shelton is, because I had when John told me about it last week. Well, he had said Chris Hansen, and I was very.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know Chris Hansen was a Scientologist.
Yeah. She thought I was having the guy on who goes after predators.
I'd never heard of you. So can you paint us a picture? Like, who are you? What did you come from? What do you?
Okay.
That would be interesting to know.
Yes, they have. You can find if you Google me and go down the list enough, you'll find a hate website about me. You have my ex-wife trashing me on video. That's fun. That's always fun to experience. And a bunch of lies told about me and so I got something on this meter. There's something here, right? So if I ask you, okay, recall a time when you had difficulty communicating with a spouse. Boing, the needle responds. And the auditor's sitting there looking at it going, well, I got something here. And the guy goes, well, I don't see anything. And the auditor goes, well, let's take a look. And then the auditor's watching the e-meter, and if he sees the needle move again in a similar way or the same way, he goes, what's that thought right there? What's the thought you're having? When I said that.
Oh, that makes me feel weird.
Right? But some people have characterized it that way, but if you look just a little deeper, you see it's not that simple.
To bring it back to, because I kind of wanted to focus on how the indoctrination sort of changed you and made you, because you said you were devoted in it and you worked for 27 years in the organization, and I wasn't even aware it's been around for that long. Like, I'm 25. I'm so confused by all of this.
that you will regain a freedom from amnesia on this whole series of things that's happened to you in the past. You'll remember everything. You'll be able to remember everything.
And do Scientologists, are there Scientologists that claim to have their memory restored and remember these past lives? And
yeah, I used to.
I'm so uncomfortable because I can see how this is appealing. Like, I get it. I understand it. It sounds like such a cool idea.
Mm-hmm. And I'm giving it to you in the cool way too, because past life incident when you threw an apple at your wife 500 years ago.
Leading questions and I mean, in a way, it sounds weirdly therapeutic, but at the same time, it's like a mind fuck, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I hadn't heard about the ankle bracelet part, but yeah, she did have to. She literally, Katie Holmes had to orchestrate an escape from Tom Cruise.
Wow!
Him. She had to orchestrate with her family getting away from him in such a way that he would not be able to stop her. And it was quite a little dramatic story. I mean, when it all went down, it was, it was sort of reported in celebrity media. So it's kind of like, but Scientology basically convinced Tom Cruise to dump Nicole, keep the kids, get them fully on board with Scientology. And then a few years later, in the early mid 2000s, actually went on a Scientology mate hunt and found Tom Cruise a new wife, and that was Katie Holmes. Until she escaped from him, because she woke up and went, "Holy cow, this guy's nuts!"
And mate
away. What's that? Yeah, they actually went on a hunt within the world of Scientology to find Tom Cruise a woman.
Oh my God!
To sort of hypnotically implant you with ideas that you will then be forced to think are true for the rest of your existence. And this is, right? So all of the whole God, devil paradigm, angels, demons, crosses, the rosary, all these machinations, all these symbols and things that make up the Christian religion, Hubbard claimed were hypnotically implanted into you millions and billions of years ago to control you and make you see the universe through this lens so that you will be a good little Thetan and you won't get up to no good. And
something that seems kind of genius to me too, okay, is that, all right, here you're being exposed to these Christian ideas, but you've already been told, you know what, you're an eternal being already. You're just borrowing this body. And now you hear about Christianity, and the ideas of Christianity probably sound pedestrian to you after the story you've been told. And here Christianity is Christian. So
that's exactly right. And in fact, we were told that all of Christianity, I mean, this is pretty crazy, but part of the Xenu story, and this does filter down in other ways through Scientology literature and through Hubbard's writings and his lectures. You're given the idea that all of Christianity is actually an implant. And an implant is something that is done to you as a spiritual being in a past life to sort of hypnotically implant you with ideas that you will then be forced to think are true for the rest of your existence. And this is, right? And this is not day one dogma, by the way. I'm telling you stuff that takes years to learn. The Thetan part is day one stuff. They'll tell you that right off. The physical universe being 4 quadrillion years old, that's OT3 level stuff. So I'm mixing and matching this stuff to tell you what they believe, okay? And the dogma is you're a spiritual entity. You have lived in the past billions and trillions of lives. This body that you have is just one of trillions that you've had in your time, playing around here in the physical universe. And you're going to live forever. There's no killing you. Your body will die, but you won't. You can't. There's no way you can ever die. So your existence, though, has been a steady decline in your cognitive abilities, in your spiritual abilities, because you've been trapped. You went from playing a game in this universe to becoming trapped in it. You went from playing dolls, so to speak, to thinking you are the doll. Right? This is because now people here on Earth are, no, this is me. This is who I am. I'm just my body. And when my body dies, I die. And Hubbard's like, no, that's all nonsense. You're going to keep going. And you're going to be compelled to go get another body and another one and another one. You're trapped in this endless cycle of life after life after life. And he sort of made, very Western-minded comparisons to Buddhism and stuff, this endless cycle of life after death. It's not reincarnation as such. It's more you're stuck in this system where you're sort of hypnotically compelled to go get another body when your body dies. You have to go to the hospital and pick up a baby body and carry on.
It sounds like the Matrix.
The scientists love the Matrix.
Okay.
There are two movies that Scientologists just love: Star Wars and The Matrix. And one of the little tricks of this trap that you're stuck in is every time you assume a new body, you forget everything that happened to you before. It's all still there to be remembered, but you knowingly and actively forget it because you don't want to remember all that bullshit from the past, right? You want to start your new life on a fresh, clean slate, right? And so you start this new life and you conveniently forget everything, and you've been programmed to forget it. So Scientology claims, L. Ron Hubbard claims that his method, and now I'm in that list of people, right? So Scientologists don't want to have anything to do with me, won't listen to what I say.
Yeah.
There's an e-meter, this electronic device that gets used. There's a lot of stock placed on that e-meter, and it itself becomes a tool of manipulation. Because if you believe you're hooked up to an electronic device that can tell if you're lying or not, then you're going to be compelled to tell the truth. That's going to be something that's going to be, a pressure in your own mind. What's that?
So abusive, though.
Well, it becomes that way because you are indoctrinated into Hubbard's way of viewing the world. And again, if we've all been around this long and the universe is as big as and infinite as it is, who's to say none of this is possible? I mean, you become rather credulous.
Oh, and they're appealing to nerds and people who maybe aren't as extroverted, and that is so sick. Because these are the people who want all of that to be real as well. I mean, I don't want to generalize, but coming from that background and then seeing other people who are very like-minded, we're the kind of people who want to believe that shit. It's fucked up.
Right. That's right. And here's a whole cosmology where you can take one step and another and another. By the time you're at step number 50, you're saying and thinking things that you never imagined you would say and think on day one.
It must be so, not to give credit to this horrible idea, but it must be so freeing to be able to live in your own imagination like that.
Yeah, actually, because again, anything's possible. And
I'm trying to stick to one thing and then it's becoming 100 other things. But you said that when you were a teenager, you would go to these
I told you guys this was going to be hard to do, didn't I?